been 10 months since we left it here, and now I'm trying to sort it out because we're back.
Mais sobrevivendo.
Men det är tufft.
Бабушка года какая-то.
My son is sleeping in the back seat, and usually I spend this time working my book, but since I finished editing it yesterday, I now have time to make these videos. So this was day 2 of being back in Ukraine, and there is absolutely no rest for the wicked. So I had to go back to Kyiv and sort out our shit, which I had stored while we were in Norway, and prepare for Jabari to get back to the front lines, which he had to immediately upon crossing the border. So my son and I actually arrived the day before Jabari in Ukraine. He's been in Moldova for a little over a month with some friends he hasn't seen since the war started, and waited out his paperwork to get back into it. So he's back in the Marines, different unit, but once a Marine, always a Marine. On his way to the front lines, he got permission to come pick up his shit, which also meant that my son got to see his father for the first time in over a month. He was very happy, of course, but that meant that I had 24 hours to just get everything sorted. So this car needed fixing in the garage, the other car needed fixing. Had to sort out all our shit, sort out my stuff into this car, his stuff into the frontline car. Tactical gear, uniforms, medical stuff, tourniquets. It's all just routine for us now, like having our storm bags ready in case we have to storm shit or get stormed. It's probably like my sister, who's a pilot, who has her fancy carry-on ready every 3 weeks from one airport to another. It's just, it is what it is. But got it ready, Jabari came, could spend 12 hours with his son, get his stuff, and head back to the front lines. Now some might wonder what my thought process or feelings are of this whole thing. And if you'd asked me a few months ago, I would not even be able to make this video. There were definitely some processes I had to go through. The only way I can describe it in my life is when I used to work at sea, I absolutely loved it. I loved being at sea. I had peace of mind. I felt calm, at ease. I was just happy. But every time I came ashore, after a few days, I could just be hit by some random fear, just being terrified of the sea. I've always been terrified of being under the sea because everything's gross and ugly and disgusting, like giant octopuses and sharks and, you know. So I would never go diving, and I don't want to be floating around open water. Also, crocodiles is just nasty, depending on where you are in the world. The water is not for me. Definitely not after Krinky, but yeah. So ashore, I could get hit by just random moments of panic or fear of being at sea. Like, it's dangerous, you can die. But every time I was at sea, there was nowhere else I would rather be. Everything was just perfect and happy, and it's been the same now with this war. There was never a time during this war that I was worried or had regrets or fear, other than Krinky, because definitely I was gonna die there. But now, when I was home, had a really rough birth and postpartum, post-surgery recovery for 2 months, and it was different having a small child involved because I really don't want to see him grow up without his father. So there was a process. It was a process this winter, and if I can sleep, that says a lot, because I sleep through literal rockets and bombs. But there were a couple of weeks where I just could not sleep. all the thoughts and all the feelings and all the panic and fear and doubt, and it's dangerous, it's war, he's a small baby, and what if the body gets killed in the front line, what if we get hit by a bomb, all of this. I was not able to talk about it. It was rough. But now, like, I went through that. I went through those processes. I went through that time. Now we're back, and it's like we never left. We're just living our lives, and it's the same as usual. Business as usual. I'm not worried. I'm not scared. I've been really busy, of course, taking care of the child and working on my book and trying to catch up on everything I've postponed while being in Norway. A lot of meetings and errands and stuff. So there really hasn't been much time to think about it either, but being back feels great. It feels like coming home. As for the body being in the front line, I don't really think much about it. It's his job. I love being in the front line. Not worried about it. If I could go back to the front lines, I would, but I can't because I have my son to take care of. Also, the doctor said I can't because of my brain injuries, but I still would. Now, is it fun? Expecting a phone call at any given time saying that he's been killed in action? No. We have had that happen to many people we loved and cared about. We know it can happen. And that's a part of this. It is war. There's no point in me going around trying to prepare for it, creating fake scenarios in my head, trying to envision how I'm gonna deal with it, how I'm gonna react. There's no point to it because I don't know. No matter how many times we lost someone, every time is different. You just don't know until it happens. So, meanwhile, this is the 5th year of war. Like, I can't go every second of the day, every day, just tearing myself apart, worrying about stuff or thinking about it or being sad about it. I can't do that. I don't have that in me anymore. So all I can do is continue living our life, and if that happens, I don't know how I'm going to respond or react until that time comes. But if that time comes, there are aspects to it that we all know far too well, such as the difficulties if they're able to retrieve the body, figure out where the body is, getting the body home, funerals and all this, the paperwork, life insurance payment from the military. It's a whole clusterfuck. It's so much bullshit. And I know that unless I have contacts within his unit, I'm not gonna know shit. They're not gonna tell me where it happened, how it happened, where he is. So that's fucked up. So all I can do now is make sure that he has the equipment he needs to survive as best as he can, and that I'm able to do what's needed if he gets killed. And by that I mean figuring out where his body is and getting it home. Majority of the time we're not able to do that. And this is the first time that we're not in the same unit, so it would be a lot harder for me to figure that part out now, like I said, unless I have a very good contact in his unit. But, you know, answers is what everybody needs if their loved one goes missing or is killed. Where is he? What happened? So that's my focus, and yes, I do know how fucked up that sounds, but it's been our reality, our everyday life for years. It would be different if I had never served in the military, been in these front lines in this war, but I loved it. Yes, it's horrible and a big risk of getting killed, but it was our home and our family for years. So I understand why he's there, and like I said, I'm not worried. I'm just living my life as best I can through a war.